Hello, everybody, and welcome to What's Up, Cuz? I'm your host, Jason Palmer, along with my cousin, the coach, Lance C. Irvin, as we talk about everything that's going on in the sporting world, but particularly here in Chicago. What's up, cuz? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great, but the bigger question is, what you wearing today over there, cuz? Before I get started, what you wearing today?
Well, usually I'm wearing a nice little jersey or shirt or something to represent, one of our favorite teams and something like that. But tonight, I'm wearing a regular old dress shirt because I'm representing myself, Lance.
When you represent yourself, I know you think I'm going to wish you happy birthday, but I'm not. I mean, you know what? I'm going to do it like a good cousin would, though. But time out, though. Where's your tie if you going out? First of all, how old are you, Jay? Is it 50?
5-0. I made the big 5-0 today, cuz.
You know what? Because you're making it a big 5-0, I'm going to give you partial day off today. I'm going to give you the partial day off. Now, where you going out to eat? Because you got your towel, your shirt like you going somewhere at night.
I am. My lovely wife is taking us out to dinner somewhere tonight. So I had a great, incredible birthday weekend with my best friend and his wife and my wife. We went out to Michigan City, Indiana, and enjoyed ourselves this weekend. And now tonight, my wife is taking me out solo to some fancy Italian restaurant that I can't pronounce the name. So
I thought I was your favorite cousin.
Yeah, but I can't
get in right. I can't get in right. You know what? You acting like I don't have money over here. I got MasterCard. I got Visa. I got.
Is that a Sears card you pulled out? Is that no tools, man? What you doing with a Sears card?
With Sears card, I can get those extra points and everything. But see, I'm trying to be nice to you. Why you have to bless me out because you're 50? Only reason I'm not going to continue to clown you because I'm proud of you. You made the big 50, even though you went to the wrong high school. I'm not going to get started. But how does it feel to be the big 5-0 and the Bears lost yesterday?
I think I'm more upset with turning the big 5-0 than I am with the Bears loss. You know how it is when you get into the late years of whether it's your late 30s or late 20s, and that big zero number is coming up right behind it. So you're like, I'm 49.98, and now, you 50, you're like, oh, damn, 5 decades of this? How did this happen? My wife done applied for an AARP card for me. I'm like, she being a smart ass, but, she wants the discount. So, I've got an AARP card coming in the mail soon, all this stuff. So that's all right, though, man. I'm doing my workouts, drinking my water, still trying to look good, man. 50 is the new 30. That's what I said. So we'll kind of go from there, see how it is. See, my cousin was talking stuff about me. That's why he froze, but that's all right. We're going to come back to him later on. But anyway, folks, welcome to What's Up, Cuz. I am your host, Jason Palmer, along with my cousin. He's a jokester, the coach, Lanny C. Irvin. He's back with us now.
I told your little cousin 50 was the new 30. She almost ran me out the house. She said, Daddy, don't lie. 50 is the new 50. Cut it out. Don't try to make yourself feel good. No, I said, Bricky, 50 is the new 50. No, it's not, Daddy. 50 is 50. But anyway, Jay, on your birthday week, we had a lot going on. Well, last week leading up to your birthday, you know what? It's bad. The Sox lost, the Cubs lost. Don't tell nobody it's your birthday because we had a bad week of sports around here.
Man, it was a rough week. It was a rough week, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk to Joseph Phillips. He's going to come up at 6:30. We got a former NBA player coming up. He's going to talk to us about what's going on in the NBA Finals. We got Kenny McReynolds. He's going to join us again about 6:45, and we're going to talk about Bears, White Sox, Cubs, everything that's going on in the sporting world, and Houston Texans firing coaches and GMs today, and we're going to end the show a little bit early tonight, folks. We're going to end it at 7:30 because it is my birthday, and I am going out with my wife. And, when you got executive decision power like that, you can end the show. So I'm going to give me a nice dinner with my wife at 7:30. But in the meantime, let's talk about some of the stuff that's going on in the news. But once again, we like to encourage you to download the app for the show, the SportsZone Chicago app. You can download it on iTunes. You can download it on Amazon. You can download it on the Google stores. Go ahead, download that app. It'll give you access to all the shows that we have here on the SportsZone Chicago network. That includes the show with our guy Hart. That'll include the Humidor show on Saturday with the guys. They chopping it up over cigars. And, of course, our flagship show, Sean and Maya in the mornings, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So go ahead and download that app. We also like to welcome all of you who are watching us on Facebook Live, or if you're watching us on YouTube, go ahead and send us your questions, post your comments as well. We'll try to get to them as well, make this an interactive show. So let's start with last week's poll question that we asked, and we do have some results. So last week, Lance, we asked a very simple question with the NBA Finals starting. Who was going to win the NBA Finals this year? Was it going to be the Miami Heat or the Los Angeles Lakers? And the result was the Los Angeles Lakers got 80% of the vote. Wow. The Miami Heat got 20% of the vote. And judging by the series so far, those of you who picked 80%, y'all doing all right because the Lakers are up 2-1 over the Heat.
You know what? When the poll question came out last week when we asked it, Jay, I took the Lakers. I thought it would be 4-2. So it's running like I thought it would, 4-2. The thing that happened to the Lakers yesterday was Anthony Davis got in foul trouble. And when he got in foul trouble, that kind of like changed the way that the LA had to play from time to time. And they shot a lot of three-point jump shots. So you can't continue to do that. But give Miami credit. I thought Jimmy Butler came to play. I mean, anytime you have 40, 13, and 11, you helped account for 130 points in the last couple of games, either scoring or assisting. That's a lot of points. So somebody has to take it personal and stop Jimmy Butler in the next game. But I still picked the Lakers to win 4-2.
I picked the Lakers to win as well, but I figured they'd probably win 4-1 just because I know it's really hard to sweep, teams once you get to that finals level. You got two good teams really going at it. And for me to say it's 4-1 is pretty dominating because, most series are 4-2 or go 7 games. But, I just thought the Lakers had too much firepower. And, when they went up 2-0, I was like, oh, man, this could really be a sweep, especially with the injuries that the Miami Heat have. I was like, man, this sucker going to be over. But, the Heat, Jimmy Butler, give them credit. They found a way yesterday. They dug deep inside and pulled out a victory. Now, I don't think they can do that again because Jimmy was doing everything. Jimmy was a hard-working man yesterday, Lance. You can't keep that up. My man got a triple-double. He was doing everything. I thought he was going to announce the game, too, while he was at it.
Hey, he already selling his big face coffee. I'll tell you what, Jimmy should have had a big face nap last night. Everything he did after that game that he played. No, but I mean, Jay, that's the thing you have to do when you're a top 20 player in the NBA, which I think Jimmy is a top 20 player in the NBA. Sure. I don't know if you would. But, he carried his team on his back from the offensive end, the defense standpoint. And, and his pride got in the way. If you get swept 4-0 in the finals, you know how tough that is, Jay? That's like crazy. We all can say, hey, we happy to get there, but you don't want to get swept now.
Well, and the other thing, too, that, people talk about and they'll say about Jimmy Butler not being the leader, Jimmy Butler not being able to take a team here, Jimmy Butler not being able to take it. Well, he's hearing all that. He's definitely hearing all that. He's already taken his team to the final. And I think, like you said, the fact that his team could have gotten swept, Jimmy wasn't trying to hear that. He wasn't trying to hear that at all, and I don't blame him. So, I'm very happy that Miami was able to get a win out of that. I look forward to seeing, what he can do kind of going forward. The next game is, Wednesday? Are they on Wednesday, Friday, Sunday?
You know what? I think Wednesday. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think Wednesday, too.
You know what? I think by Spolstra playing Myers Leonard, I think that was huge, too, because I thought they needed some more size. And I think it's tough going up against the Lakers when you're playing small ball. I mean, you have Dwight Howard, who's almost 6'10", 6'11", he's big and muscular. Anthony Davis. Hell, Brown about 6'9". They keep saying he's 250. Brown about 270. In the way he moving. So you just need some size. And I was telling Kendall Gill and my brother Byron and them the other day, like they got to play Myers Leonard. Some kind of way he at least have to give you 15, 16 minutes. And then that way, you won't continue to get pounded when you're trying to put a 3-man on a 4-man, putting 6'5" on Anthony Davis, that's 6'11". I mean, that's tough.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I learned early on, you can't teach speed, you can't teach height. So, when you got the Lakers that got that size, man, I mean, you can't outgrow them. So you gonna have to figure out a way, and you can put Miles Leonard in there. I thought was also a good move, to give you a little bit more size. But I think the thing that the Heat are gonna have to do if they want this, man, they're gonna have to hustle. They're gonna have to play all out, just like Jimmy did. And it can't be just Jimmy. It's got to be all of them, man. Everybody's got to be pulling on that rope. Everybody's got to be pulling at the same time in the same direction and with the same intensity. Especially with them having two of their key players out. We'll bring George on in a few, and I'm sure George is going to talk about this even more. But talk to us just a little bit about, what you have to do when you are outman, outgunned, undersized as a kid and telling your team to try to do to get the victory.
First thing you have to do, Jay, take care of the basketball. You cannot turn the ball over because most of the time when you turn it over, it leads to easy baskets. Secondly, rebound. You only can give them one shot. And then secondly, like you said, you have to play a little harder and you have to play smarter too. I think if you could do those two things well, then you have a shot. And also too now with the 3-point line, you at least have to make like 38, 39, 45% of your threes. That's how you stay in the ball game. But good hard-earned effort. Defense was great last night. You got to continue to pick it up. But I'm curious to see what George is going to say because George actually played in the NBA Finals.
He did. And I guess one other question before before we bring George on, what about the outside shooting for Miami? How big of a key is that going to be with them taking those threes? What percentage would you say they need to hit in order for that to be an effective strategy?
For them, in the upper 40s. I mean, especially you have guys that can shoot. Duncan Robinson can shoot it. Kendrick Nunn from Chicago. I was happy to see him step in and make some shots, and I'm happy to see that he's playing more. Jimmy Butler, you have Crowder on the outside. So if they can shoot in the 40s, they give themselves a chance to win the game. Anything, Jay, if they shoot like 25% or lower, it's tough. But this way, if they're making shots, they can spread the floor. Then that opens up some more driving lanes for Jimmy Butler because as you can see yesterday, he scored a lot of points in the paint yesterday, whether it was shooting over KCP or whether it was bagging down Rondo or doing those things. So if they can hit threes at a high clip and spread the court, then they have a chance to win.
Yeah, I agree. And I just think it's really key. You're going to take them shots. You better not miss them because we all know the theory, live by the 3, die by the 3. So, you gotta hit them shots if you're going to take them. And I definitely agree with you. The rebounding and the hustling are going to be a key. So, but let's get ready to bring in our first guest of the show because I know he is standing by and we would love to bounce all these topics off of him because he played in the league from 1993 to 2005. He played his college ball at the University of North Carolina. And once in the NBA, he was there, like I said, for 12 years. He played for Philly, Vancouver, these Lakers, which are in the championship, for Charlotte. He played for a lot of people. He had a great career. And guess what? He just turned 50 a month ago, just like I am today. So that's why I'm bringing him up. George Lynch on. George, what's up, man?
Thanks for giving me that late birthday wish, man. It was great. I'm doing well.
What's up, George? How are you, sir? Thanks for being on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Man, appreciate it. I know you're busy, George, so let's jump right into it. George, I mean, you played in the finals with Philly against the Lakers. What's your mindset going into the finals? I mean, did you feel a lot of pressure or you like, look, we just need to go out here and play and everything work itself out?
Well, when I reached the finals, I was a more experienced player, veteran. I'd been in several playoff rounds, big game situations. So making it to the finals, other than the media, dealing with that every day, it kind of distracts you. But once you get there, you're kind of focused as a more experienced player.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And with that being said, George, when you guys played the Lakers, they had Kobe and Shaq. What was the game plan? Do you remember what your game plan was to slow
them
up?
Hey, well, we knew we didn't have an answer for Shaq.
Mhm.
You know, unfortunately, we were going through a lot of injuries that year. We're injured, trying to get into the finals. You know, I ended up breaking my foot in the quarterfinals. weren't able to play, but a few minutes in the first round. Um, but going in, you just have to stick to your game plan. It's too late in the season to try and come up with a new scheme, offense or defensively. Hopefully, you learn good habits. And like you guys mentioned earlier, everyone has to ball out. You know,
Mhm.
whether it's the 10th, 11th man coming off the bench, everyone has to play their best. And playing against the Lakers, that great team that won a three-peat, um, you know, we were just trying to make sure Shaq uh, was under control, and that was a difficult task at hand.
Yeah, George. I mean, and now you look at what Miami's got to do. They got to tackle both Anthony Davis and LeBron James, and you got two superstars on that team, and both of them are big guys, but they're also agile. They can both shoot outside. They can put the ball on the floor and get to the basket and score. If you were playing against this Lakers team, if you were coaching against them, what would be your plan going in to beat this team?
To have both of those guys shoot as low a percentage as possible. Um, Not many fast break points, like you said. If you have a turnover, it's got to be a controlled turnover where the ball goes out of bounds and don't give them easy points. I think the problem they have is when Caruso and Morris and Danny Green and all those guys get 10 and 12 points, it's almost impossible for Miami to win a game like that.
Yeah, George, just overall, the fact that we're even having an NBA Finals, the fact that they've been able to pull this thing off with just a few bumps in the road and get it there, just what are your thoughts on how the NBA has been able to handle this and how the players and coaches have all kind of bought into the bubble concept and we were able to get to this point so far?
I think it's been great. The testing, being able to put the guys in a bubble and keep them, managed and under control. It's a great sacrifice from the guys because I know at that time of the year, you get towards the end, you're missing your family, and the families are making sacrifices, being away from their loved ones and their children. It's just one of those situations where it's tough for everybody involved, but I'm glad to see it. I hope it go to at least 6. I'm not ready to watch anything else but basketball. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, uh, the NBA has done a great job.
Yeah, I guess, and kind of a follow up to that, as you go from round to round, as you advance in the NBA, the competition obviously gets tougher, but a lot of fans forget the compensation get better too. So talk to me a little bit about how much that
You know
is
what,
as an
George?
incentive to
Last
get
night
players
when you and
to
I were
keep going.
talking,
Hey, it's been about 15 years since I've gotten one of those checks, but at that time, about 15 years ago, it was 200,000 to make it to the finals. So I'm sure it's a pretty penny. Uh, in the further you advance in the playoffs, first, second round, it's a little bump up increase, and hopefully those guys not getting too many technos to give it back to the league.
hey George, so what you say that check was 200,000?
Yeah, that was a nice little check, man. I missed that check deeply.
You and me both. I wish I could get a check like that. But no, I remember you and I was talking a couple of days ago, George, and we talked about how in the playoffs, like the game becomes a half court game. And you told me when Boston was playing Philly, you said basically Boston, they was dribbling too much and they was taking too much time off the clock. Talk about that, how you told me how you thought fit Boston should have sped up a little bit and how it took them too long to get into their sets.
Yeah, it was the series against Miami, and we were talking about Kemba Walker. Um, you know, those guys were really coming down, and one guy was going taking 5 to 6 dribbles. I think one time I counted, Kemba took 10 dribbles in the same spot.
Hmm.
And sometimes you just have to be able to get into the flow of the offense. You got to push the ball across so you got time. Um, you got to, especially when you're seeing a zone, you got to work that zone 5 or 6 seconds. And, Boston was coming down, getting into their offense with 12 seconds. Then they figured out they were in the zone. They had 8 seconds left. So they really only had one passing shot. And I'm sure they look back on it. They're looking back at the film and they probably kicking themselves in the butt for that one.
George, let's flip it a little bit. If you're the Lakers, and after that performance that Jimmy Butler had last night to lead his team to victory, how do you go about trying to get in these final 2 wins in this series to get yourself a championship?
Well, I think the Lakers, because Bam wasn't playing and Dragic wasn't playing, they kind of took that for granted. I'm sure they're going to be ready to play and match their effort. Miami, the only chance they had was, like you guys mentioned earlier, was for everyone had to play, like it was the last game in their lives, and Miami did that. I don't think the Lakers are going to not match their intensity the next game.
Mm-hmm. One thing we talked about, George, we mentioned Miami has to make 3-pointers. Do you feel like they have to make their 3-point shots to stay into the game, or can they win by shooting 2s?
Well, they have to make more threes than the Lakers. I think if they do that, and like you said, today's game, especially in regular season, rebounding is not emphasized offensively and defensively. But for Miami, they have a chance. They got to get second and third opportunities to the Lakers one chance at the shot.
Mm-hmm. Do you think they need to play Myers Leonard more?
I think every man on that bench has to play more. You have to be playing at maximum effort when you're out there. To have guys out there playing tired against the Lakers, they're gonna make too many mistakes and 50-50 balls. Every loose ball is magnified.
Once again, we're being joined by our guest here, George Lynch, former NBA player and also the former coach at Clark Atlanta University. Just to change the subject a little bit here, George. Obviously, we've got now an off season, which nobody knows what's going to happen. We have no idea what's going to be with a draft, free agent signings. We don't even know when the next season is going to start. Once this thing ends, how do the players prep themselves for the next season? How do the coaches get ready for the next season with everything kind of tossy-turvy and up in the air right now?
Well, I think the best thing, guys are going to be excited whenever it do start back up. I think the NBA is looking to start whenever they can get fans back in the stands. Probably the same thing for college basketball. March Madness is probably one of the most exciting times during the year, and to play basketball in an empty stadium is not the same. And for guys, they just have to continue, to build on their workouts. If they're in the gym getting shots, try to build and have yourself a calendar where you're building that momentum up until when the season do start, but stay ready at all times.
And, as a coach, I know the importance that, you all can work with players, you can do individual workouts, but a lot of this stuff, especially in this time period, is going to come down to the individual player, their will, their work habits. For our young viewers who are watching, what type of advice do you give them for their own personal workouts that they're doing by themselves? What drills or what skills do you think they should be working on that will transcend no matter when the games come back?
If they can play as much 1-on-1, 2-on-2, and 3-on-3 as possible. Sometimes you play full court, you don't get across half court, you don't hustle. Make it competition where if you lose, you do an extra suicide or a sprint. Making sure that you're getting your shots up, because that's where it counts. I mean, there were plenty of times throughout an NBA career where you look back on it and you question yourself whether you got those 300 makes up during the week per day, and in the days you didn't get it in, you can look back on those games where you went, shot the ball less than 30 or 40%.
Man, George, and speaking about that also, from a coaching standpoint, since you used to play for Philly, I have to ask you about Doc Rivers. I didn't think the Clippers should have fired Doc. I think they should have gave him another year due to the fact that this was a tough year and a different year. Speak to us about what you think Doc will bring to the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah, I think it was a bad deal with the Clippers, knowing the teams going into the bubbles. I know the expectations were high. Having your fans and home court advantage plays a big difference in the playoffs. I think Doc would be perfect for the 76ers and developing their young players. And Doc, I am available if you need support staff.
See, Lance, even George know Doc Rivers is your cousin. George said, I'm going on Doc's cousin show. I'm put my plug in.
Yeah, I need to get Doc. I'll come back to Philly, man, and help you with those young guys.
George, you have to put yourself out there like you did, though. If you know Billy Donovan, now Billy Donovan is in Chicago. And I really don't know Billy, but I think Billy is a pretty good coach. And I think the Bulls needed somebody with experience. I know my cousin Jay said Billy is probably the best coach that Chicago has had in a long time. How do you think Billy Donovan would translate in Chicago?
I think he's going to do a great job. For him to have the success with the Thunder team that he had this year, with all the pieces and trades that were made and expectations of not even winning 40 games, he did a great job, a marvelous job with handling those personalities.
So we got George Lynch with us for just a couple more minutes. And George, just a couple more questions I definitely wanted to ask you about the changing of the game. The game is constantly evolving, it's constantly changing. One of the things that I was disappointed about with basketball in general the last few years is that the big man playing with his back to the basket seems to have been disappearing. But it kind of seems like now we're starting to see that swing back where they're trying to get the ball to the big man more, even though these big men are having a little bit more agility and more athleticism. Mm-hmm. Do you kind of see that trend happening here in the next few years as well?
Well, I think the more players can do both, it makes the game better. I think when you rely just on threes, of course, like Houston, you look at Houston and, struggling, as talented as those players are, the three-point line, you can't just be a three-point line shooter. You have to rebound. You have to have a post presence to keep the team honest when you're not making shots. For example, Miami, Mitch Butler has done a marvelous job with the mid-range game, along with making a few threes here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just one more question for you here, George, and we'll let you go. I know you got some workout stuff you got to do with your son, but we're now also starting to see a little bit of a shift. You coached at the HBCU down there in Clark, Atlanta. We're starting to see now some of these top athletes from high schools giving HBCUs some serious considerations. Some of them have already signed with HBCUs in basketball and in football. Talk to me a little bit about the importance of that, and do you see this as a big trend here in the next few years that people are trying to change the game?
I think it's very important. I have a nonprofit called HBCU Heroes, and it started out, with Steph giving his donation to Howard, changing their golf program. Anyone can be a HBCU hero. Our HBCUs need support from our people.
Yes.
Any donation to an HBCU or, my nonprofit would go to an athletic program to support their needs. We're asking for these student athletes to attend an HBCU. They got to have the facilities to help them perform, the training staff to keep them on the floor and things like that. So I think it's a great that we're considering HBCUs. I think a lot of students should apply, whether they go to an HBCU or not, because those application fees help support students and teachers there, and it's a great experience. I think that they've gotten a bad reputation over the years, but I think HBCUs with now, the Black Lives Matter movement and all the social injustices, we as a people have to do our part and support HBCUs.
And how do they go about donating directly to your foundation, George, so that we can get some of our viewers to chip in as well?
Our website is hbcuheroes.org. We're working with More Than a Vote right now, campaign the John Lewis film, Make Good Trouble. And all that is just to bring recognition to HBCUs and to be able to make a difference.
Good. Love it. George, thank you so much, man, for coming on. We appreciate this, man. I'm in the 50 Club with you starting today.
Yes,
George,
sir.
I'm in the 50 Club, baby.
Hey, man. Hey, definitely get that message to Doc, man. I love it.
Will do. And George Bricky said, make sure you tell Uncle George I said hi. All right. Thanks, G.
Thanks a lot, George. All right. That was George Lynch, everybody. We're going to take a commercial break, and then we'll be back with our guy from the Chicago Crusader Newspaper, Joseph Phillips. Stay with us.
See me. See me.
See me. See my dark skin and my kinky hair.
See me. Don't see past me.
Don't see through me.
See me.
See my tan skin and my curly hair.
See me.
Don't see past me.
Don't see through me.
See me.
See my face, wet with tears from years of oppression.
See my hands, weathered and worn from decades of pulling myself up through your society.
See my feet split from centuries of walking your delicate line.
See me.
See me.
See me.
I'm tired.
I'm tired.
I'm tired.
Welcome back, everyone, to What's Up, Cuz. I'm your host, Jason Palmer, along with my cousin, the coach, Lancy Irvin. Boy, George was a great guest, man. I really appreciate what he's doing for the HBCUs, man. You and I both now know how important that is. You have a daughter that's an athlete at an HBCU. And, you know, I think people need to know that there are resources and there are ways that we can help support these schools. You know, it's just not only alumni for those schools. It could be anyone from the community who reaches out to these schools. And I think, you know, us helping George out and donating to these universities that can upgrade their facilities, it's going to bring them better players, and it's going to make the universities better as a whole.
You know, like you said, Jay, anytime we could give back, anything we could give, like George said too, and also like you just said, that would help. We have to continue to give for them, for us to help them upgrade from a facility standpoint. And that's one of the key things. If our facilities can match some of the other schools, then I think we have a very good chance to compete day in and day out. But it's tough when you don't have the facilities like some of the other schools have. Because if you like a top 20 to top 100 player, sometimes you're like, okay, I'm looking at their facilities. Then I go down the street and I'm seeing a 5,000 seat gym. Well, no, not 5,000, 15,000 seat gym. I'm seeing a lot of new stuff because sometimes athletes, we gravitate to stuff to snoop.
Yeah.
We need to give and help out, and that's all that I think that we need. That's a start, rather.
Right. Yeah, I'm very impressed with, you know, the number of student athletes who are looking at HBCUs seriously. The number who have signed letters of intent is great. You know, we talked about Deion Sanders getting the job at JSU. I think things are going to change. I'm really looking forward to it. But let's get to our guy from the Chicago Crusader. He is their sports editor. He joins us every week here on the show. Mr. Joseph Phillips. Joe, what's up, man? Oh, look at him. Just on my birthday, man.
Happy birthday, Jason. 5-0, man.
Hey, Joseph.
Got to represent with you today, man. We got
Thank you, man.
man.
Hey, Maya, they didn't invite me to go out to eat, so y'all going out to eat without me today. Okay, I understand. I see what y'all doing. I see. That's all right, Joseph. Okay, that's cool.
Y'all still look sharp, man. Y'all still look sharp over there, brother.
No, I'm just representing Lawrence Taylor. That's all.
LT. Oh, man. LT.
He representing a team that was 0-4 and they got into a fight yesterday.
Was LT out there? Jason?
Man, let's talk about that. All right.
I like toughness. I love toughness.
Skip the script. Let's talk about this nonsense.
Toughness.
What in the world was happening yesterday with Golden Tate and my man Jalen from the Rams? They out there scrapping after the game, and then we find out the fight didn't have nothing to do with football.
Oh, no.
The fight had to do with Jalen got two kids with Golden Tate's sister and got her pregnant a third time and left her right before she was ready to drop the baby. And he said, that's all right. He going to have to see me. And that's what the fight was about.
Whoa,
What?
that's crazy. And there was no spectators there, huh?
What? Jay, no, Jason. I'm going to act like I did not hear you say what you just said.
Yes, the fight was over some baby mama issues and child payments.
Why is Big Bro mad?
He's sticking up for the honor of his sister. You got a sister, you know she watches, so you better stick up for her if something go down.
You know what I tell my sister? Don't put me in bad situations because you know it's a lot of us in the Irvins will fight. Now we don't mind a good fight, but it has to be for a reason though. But are you serious?
Yeah, man. They out there humbugging at the 50-yard line.
I didn't know why they were fighting.
I said it had to be something personal the way they were fighting. That wasn't no football fight, man.
Wow, what's your thoughts on that, Joseph? You down there shaking your head? What's your
ghetto mess, man? They need to clear that mess up, especially if you lose it like that. You can't lose the game and lose the fight.
Right.
Somebody got to win.
Well, let me say this. I'm not laughing at the young lady. I don't want them to think I'm talking, but sometimes, y'all, we have to act like gentlemen, too. I mean, that needs to be settled.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to whoop somebody's ass. You knock my sister up and leave her in the 8th month after you got 2 with her. And then I think what made him even mad was he posted pictures with the new girl like a month after she dropped the baby, and it was like a big old mess, man.
Is he paying child support?
He wasn't paying enough.
That's some 4 Top Temptation, Motown 25 type of stuff, man. They need to slow down with that.
Man, they gonna lose more in fines.
They are. They spreading COVID all over the field. Everybody out there without a mask. It was a hot mess. But anyway, I had to bring that up. Let's talk to Joseph. Joseph, what you got going on in Chicago Crusader this week?
Well, this week I'll be writing about Michael Jordan's jersey from the 86-87 season that's on sale when he averaged 37.1 points per game, one of his greatest seasons ever. The jersey will be selling for $480,000, and we'll be talking about that. In addition to that, I will be writing about the Bears facing off against Tom Terrific, formerly of the Patriots, the New England Patriots. And that should be an interesting story. Hopefully we can redeem ourselves from Sunday's disappointing loss. And last but not least, I will be talking about just the Cubs off-season plans. And hopefully Theo Epstein, decides to stay another year, hopefully.
Okay. So now before I ask you about that, Joseph, you got a brand new house, right?
Yes, sir.
Put a battery in the smoke alarm, man. What's wrong with you?
You heard it. You know what, man?
Yeah, we hear it.
I feel like Martin on Boomerang, man. We in the penthouse, man. You got smoke going across the penthouse. You got to open the windows up in here. You remember how Martin on Boomerang was frying chicken? He ain't supposed to be frying chicken in the penthouse. They was smoke all over where they on the roof hugging like, yeah, man. He's like, hold on, my stuff on fire.
We have taken the show in a whole different direction.
But I tell you what, show up to his house in the middle of our show.
Hey, did y'all hear it? Man?
Yes, we heard it.
No. I'm in the middle of Hyde Park, man. I'm sorry. It's like baby New York over here. Smoke alarms going off, babies crying, cats meowing.
I'm trying to figure out how I can match my Sears card so I can get the Michael Jordan jersey.
Oh, man.
480K?
What'd you say, Lance?
480K for the jersey. I can max out my Sears card. I have a platinum Sears card.
Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can take it to the bags, brother. Straight take it to the bags.
But Joseph, let me ask you a baseball question.
Okay.
My young cousin over there keeps saying Ricky Renteria needs to exit stage left.
Oh,
do you think now he made a couple? I don't like commenting on coaches, but some of those decisions, I was sitting there watching the game like, is he serious?
Yeah. He made a lot of White Sox fans mad last week, and I saw some of my Sox buddies. I felt pretty sorry for them because they actually had Oakland on the ropes. I thought they were going to put them away in game 2. And next thing you know, here comes Oakland, and Ricky, it goes back to that number 3 starter. Remember we talked about that.
Yep.
Sox should have traded for a number 3 starter, so because it exposed Ricky. You know, if they would have had a number 3 starter there, then you wouldn't have to worry about Rick Renteria strategizing or being a tactician like Ozzie was, who can make moves as the game goes. As I told Sean on the Sean and Meyer in the morning show, I told him that Ricky is more of a guy who can manage personalities. I don't think he's an X's and O's guy. You know, I think he's more of a guy that can stroke personalities and stroke egos.
Yeah. Let's talk about your Cubs real quick before we bring on our next guest. Man, they got 1 run in 2 games, Joseph.
Man, bro.
What in the world?
Hey, I predicted this. You can ask Maya. I predicted this, bro. I told them on, what was it, on Wednesday, Tuesday? Or actually, it was Wednesday. I said, I feel bad about this series. Everything was perfect in place just so something like this could happen. I had a bad feeling about the starting pitching of the Florida Marlins. Alcantara, I think Alcantara. Pretty much, he shut us down, kept us in check. And then I thought Kyle Hendricks stayed in the game a little bit too long. I thought we should have brought in Kimbrel or Jeffers, to just close out the game, at least in that 7th inning, and I didn't want him to go all the way. And then that game with Darvish, I just knew that the Cubs' confidence was pretty much shot the way they lost on that Wednesday. So I predicted that the Marlins was going to do that. They've never lost in the postseason. That's the crazy thing about the Miami Marlins. Well, the Miami Marlins and the Florida Marlins are the same organization, but they've never lost in the postseason. And in addition to that, I kind of felt that this is like a repeat of that 03 series with Steve Bartman and everybody. So I was just like, you know what? I just get a bad feeling when we're playing the Marlins. If you throw the ball down the middle to the wrong guy, he'll end up knocking it out the park. And that's exactly what happened with Cooper on Friday. And the same thing happened to them on Wednesday when they went on like a two-run home run hitting streak.
Joseph, you just said, Jay, if I could ask him another question, you just said you thought their confidence was shot after a loss. With the veterans the Cubs have that's used to winning, my thing is, how's your confidence shot after you just lost 1 game?
Yeah, well, if you got a hole in your bat, man, my confidence would be shot too.
I'm gonna wait till kid to get older and I'm gonna go ahead.
Hey, Lance, you know how it is, bro. If you can't hit the ball, bro, you might as well go home, bro. It's over. You can throw 60 miles per hour, but you can't hit, you in trouble.
Well, Joseph, I agree with you because I was watching the game. It was just something about their body language. And with there not being any fans there, they really are focusing on the players in the dugout. And you could just, it was like to them, when they went down a run, they acted like the world was just over. They're like, oh man, they got the lead. It's over. And I'm like, it's not. Just hit the ball.
I can feel Derek Jeter's presence also, because I think the first thing Jeter did, because he owns the Marlins, he sent the team the 2003 video of Bartman catching the ball in the fence. There was even one play, and this is mysteriously eerie. There was one play during the game when the ball was hit over there, right where Steve Bartman was at. But there was actually a usher there. She actually went to fetch the ball. But I was like, the fans can't interfere in today's game. We just got our butts kicked. Period. Right. At the end of the day.
I hear you. Well, Joseph, hey man, I appreciate it. Tell everybody where they can find you online again.
Yes, please visit us at the ChicagoCrusader.com. And this week, if you go on there, you can check out the Akeem Hicks story. He donated 150 shoes to the Boys and Girls Club in Uptown, doing a great thing. So please check that out if you get a chance.
Nice.
Well, I appreciate it, Joseph. Thank you for joining us on our birthday. For my birthday, please go buy yourself a 9-volt battery. So that you ain't this fire alarm. I want you back next week, man.
It's a cold 10. Get the chains off the door. Get the chains off the door. That's like Joe Clark told him. It's the fire monster's here.
Maya, please get these two, Maya. Maya, save me. Maya, save me. Maya, save me. I told you, Maya. Maya, I told you to come on the show. We got birthday boy who's ready to run out to eat. You got Joseph talking about brother man from the 5th floor and fried chicken. Jesus Christ. Thanks, Maya, for coming on.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this, though. I was like, dude, get a battery. I was thinking it the whole time. Because, like, it's the sound that you know exactly what it is, and you can't ignore it. So I was like a dollar store. It's like $1. Get a battery. Matter of fact, I'll send you a battery because you know what? I appreciate all the time you invest, and I hate for you to go up in flames because you didn't have a battery in your smoke alarm.
Right. We wouldn't have nobody to top the show no more.
Jason, happy birthday. Yes, you are officially 50. Good for you. You lived half a century, 5 decades. Yeah. And it's not the new 30 either.
You know what?
Ryan, please tell him,
man. Y'all just making this hard.
But you know what?
Kenny know where I'm coming from, man.
You know what? Kenny don't know where you coming from, but because this your birthday, your cousin gonna send you $25 to buy you some coffee. Half of 50.
Well, I ain't gonna use it for no coffee, but I appreciate the $25 if you go send it. But we'll get back to that later. We're gonna bring them on. We called them in to come in and pinch hit because we needed a pinch hitter off the bench, so we knew who exactly to call. Joining us again, the legendary Kenny McReynolds. What's up, Kenny?
What's happening, man? Hey, I don't know what it's like to be 50, so I just hope to look as good as you do. I turned 50. That's all I can tell you.
Kenny, don't make him feel good, Kenny. Don't make him feel good, Kenny.
Appreciate it.
Man looks good for 50. Lance just called me to come in, pinch it real quick. I'm like, Lance, man, I ain't had time to put in my good hair. Lance's daughter loves my good hair. Brooke loves me when I put in my good hair. So I said, all right, for my man, I'm gonna do this.
This show is a crazy show.
I don't have my makeup on, don't have my good hair in, but for my guy, I gotta come and say happy birthday, brother. And you talk about pinch hit. I remember when I was a little kid, doubleheader, bat day against the Yankees, second game of the doubleheader. Dick Allen was called a pinch hit.
Ooh.
Hit a home run against Sparky Lyle, won the ball game. So I'm gonna try to put one in the seats like Dick Allen did against Sparky Lyle.
Well, I appreciate it, Kenny. We know you can do it, and we got so many subjects to talk about in Chicago. What we got going on? We'll let you pick. Do you want to start with the Bears? Do you want to start with the Cubs, or you want to start with the White Sox?
Well, I'm a White Sox fan.
All right, good.
White Sox fanatic. Remember, I've been to every White Sox home opener since I was a year old. I even got in this year's game. They were probably a year early than what we thought they would be. I'm glad they didn't mortgage the future for a pitcher this year. Because, who cares about this year? It's going to be an asterisk. It's a 60-game World Series. I'm glad they didn't make a trade for a pitcher. I think Kopech comes back next year, although it would have been 2 years since he pitched. And I think it's pretty cool the way what he did. He opted out because he's getting a divorce. So this way he didn't have any money. So he didn't pay his wife money. I'm serious. That's why he opted out. Did you notice he opted out? Then he's got a divorce. So that way, I ain't got no money. I can't pay her. So I think when he comes back next year, the White Sox are going to be pretty good. I'm glad they didn't make a trade.
What? You know what, Kenny? I never thought about that angle until you just said that. And I'm like, you know what? That's pretty good. No one has really talked about that. We knew he was going through the divorce and he was having some issues there, but I would have never thought that could be his reason. Very interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, but if he got no money, he doesn't have to pay her. So I'm not playing. I don't have a contract. But I think the White Sox are going to be all right next year. I think Irvin Encarnacion can take the little parrot running around the bases and get the hell out of here. He hit under 200. I think you bring Andrew Vaughn up, maybe let him be a DH. I hope they can re-sign McCann. He's a great catcher.
I like him.
Or maybe you can let McCann DH. And let Grandal catch. Grandal signed the biggest contract in the history of the White Sox, so he has to play. So maybe you let Encarnacion go and let McCann DH. But I think the future is great for the Chicago White Sox. But remember, I'm a huge White Sox fan.
But Kenny, is the future great? Because my young cousin over there, every time we talk about the Sox for the past 2 weeks, all he's been telling me, Ricky Renteria did a bad job. Ricky did a bad job. Do you think Ricky managed bad?
He did a bad job. He did a bad job. He did a horrible job.
What's so bad about it, Kenny?
Well, I think in your last game of the year, your starters throws 15 pitches. Next, he did a bullpen game. the last game of the year. I mean,
I couldn't believe that.
I couldn't believe that. And remember, right before the season ended, he brought in Carlos Rondon. He had been hurt for months, and you had Brummer out in the bullpen. So I think he made some mistakes, and I think he'd be the first to tell you that he made mistakes. But I like Ricky because he came to the studio on my show, and anybody that comes downtown to my show, I love. But he did make some mistakes, and I wouldn't be surprised if the White Sox did make a change. And I'm not sure Ricky can get you from point A to point B, but I would be happy if they kept him. But I think the future is going to be really good. Maybe he needs a little better bench coach. Who knows?
Wow. So let's move to the Cubs a little bit, Kenny. Our last guest, Joseph, just said the Cubs had holes in their bats. But I have been saying for the past couple of weeks, you can't have guys hitting sub 200. Javier Baez, KB. I thought they were I thought they limped into the playoffs anyway. What's your
they won it by default. Yeah, they won the division by default because the division is horrible. And you notice everybody in the division except the Pirates made the playoffs, and they're all gone. Yep. Everybody's all gone. The division was terrible. I watched Theo Epstein's press conference today, and he said, we got to do better batting. We have to get a contact hitter. They don't have a contact hitter. He said he was very disappointed with the hitting this year. You can't expect your pitchers to go out and shut people out every game. If your pitcher gives up one run, that should be enough. Cubs are scoring one run every 3 or 4 games. And the reason why, and you guys saw this, with them, it was home run or nothing. They're swinging at anything. You can roll the ball up to Baez, and he's swinging at it. So, and I like what Theo said today. Theo said today, we have to get a contact hitter. They have to get a contact hitter. I think they're going to work on that. I wouldn't be surprised if they fired their hitting coach. I'm sure Chili Davis is somewhere laughing. They fired Chili Davis. I'm sure he's somewhere laughing his butt off. But, yeah, the Cubs, hey, look, pitching was fine.
I thought it was fine myself.
Yeah, pitching was fine. But if you don't hit the ball, you got to score. You have to score. So they're going to have to redo their batting. They got to redo their philosophy. They don't work the count. They don't let the pitchers work. What they do, they come up swinging for the fences. It's home runs or nothing. It's all this exit velocity, launch angle. You know what? I can listen to damn about any of that. Did you get on base? Did you get a base hit? Did we get a run? See, I'm old school. Get them on, get them over, get them in. You're swinging for the fences. If you're swinging for the fences and striking out, I'd rather have Mandrigal from the White Sox, second baseman. He can't hit the ball to the outfield to the warning track. But guess what? He hit 350. They're all singles. But guess what? I'll take 350 in singles before I take triple zeros and strikeouts. You get on base, you get them on, you get them over, you get them in.
I agree. And another thing, Kenny, when I looked at this Cubs team and their makeup, when you consider who's the core of this team, Schwarber, Bryant, Rizzo, Baez, Wilson.
I like this. Look at this. I like this.
It's our new look. Maya's playing back.
Y'all, Maya clowning. Anyway, go ahead.
I mean, but when you look at that core, they put the stat up with those guys since 2016 World Series. Those guys are batting like 169 combined in the playoffs. So my question is, I know Theo had to make some moves. All teams do, but when I look at the talent that he had to trade, Soler, who ended up going to Kansas City, was the leader in the American League in home runs the previous year. Gilbert Torres, that's how you got Chapman. Okay, that's an even trade. But you look at all those bats that they've given away. I think the first baseman for the Tigers, I think Cron was a part of their organization too. But, those bats they had to give, he was Seattle. Okay. The bats they ended up giving away, is that really what's coming back to bite them? Did he trade the wrong people?
No, he did not trade the wrong people because everybody he brought back was part of that World Series team. So Torres is an all-star, but you bring your lefty in out the bullpen throwing 100 miles an hour in the World Series. Right. And so what they did, everybody that they traded, sure, now they're being superstars, but they were prospects back then. But they won the World Series, and anytime you win the World Series, any trade you make is a good trade because they would not have made the World Series without the guys they got back, like a Chapman and Montgomery, those guys like that. So, no, I think he traded the right guys at the right time. Now, it may look bad in the long run, but they were trying to win the World Series. And the first World Series they had won in over 100 years. So no, I think that those are the right moves to make.
I think you don't have a choice when you're trying to be special, and you maybe get that one chance. So, I mean, if you're going to go all in, you might as well go all in, because next year you might not get back. So, like you said, it doesn't look too good right now. But with that being said, at that point in time, I thought he did right. I would, because
they won the World Series. You can't argue. World Series. They won the World Series, so you really can't argue with that. No, they did okay, but yeah, he said they're going to have to make some changes. They have to get a contact hitter. They got to get some better hitters, and and all these guys are going to be free agents after next year. So you can't keep Bryant, Schwarber, Rizzo, and Baez. Somebody's going to have to go, because you don't want to re-sign them all, because they'll get old together, and then all of a sudden you have one old team. Remember the old Boston Celtics? They didn't Len Bias died, that hurt. But remember, they got old at once, and then all of a sudden it was an old team. So you're going to have to trade somebody and get some really good young prospects. I mean, I have no problem trading Schwarber. I have no trouble trading Bryant. I know that $200 million that Bryant turned down. I'm sure he's telling Scott Boras, man, that $200 million look pretty doggone good right about now. So, because ain't nobody giving $200 million after this year.
Nope.
Those guys got to come back and bet on themselves for next year. But you got to get rid of some of them. You can't bring them all back, because they're going to be old. You don't want to get them all old together.
I'll tell you what, Kenny, moving across town, I'll tell you somebody that impressed me was TA again, Tim Anderson. So, Tim Anderson, he was the one guy I thought really had some discipline at the plate consistently this year.
Yeah. You know what? He didn't win the batting title, but he still hit 330 this year. He's over 300 again. He's really grown as the leader and the best player all around on the White Sox. I think Abreu is going to be the most valuable player, driving in 60 runs in 60 games. But Tim Anderson is just unbelievable, man. What the last 2 years this young man has had, not only on the field with the White Sox, but the work he does in the community as well.
Yeah, the thing I love about Tim is, he keeps it real. He told everybody where he lived. He's like, I live in the soft suburbs. I live in Flossmoor.
Hey man, we ought to go back. We ought to go by the crib one day.
I know. Tim. For real. He was like, that's where I live. I'm close. But I've also seen him on 64th and King Drive across the street from the Chicago Crusader news office, over there talking to people over there in the housing complexes over there. So Tim is a brother. He will go anywhere. And, he is really serious about changing the game. He's really serious about getting more African-American players. And I know the White Sox with their ACE program and all the great stuff they're doing in our community as well. Tim is just a solid guy. And I think he's going to only get better as the years progress. And Kenny, let me ask you this. So, with the amount of White Sox talent that they have with these young guys, what is the one tweak? It's probably more than one, but what is the couple of tweaks you would make for next year?
The back end of the pitching staff. Back end of the pitching staff, and then you have to sit Mandigro down and say, look, this is how you run the bases. You don't run through a stop sign. When you're running the bases for a steal, turn around and pick up the ball, or pick up the third base coach like in Oakland. He's sliding in second base and the ball's the base hit. He didn't see the ball. Maybe send him to the instructional league. Just work on base running. We know he's a contact hitter and he can field. So you got to get maybe a 4 and 5 starter, and then you got to work with Mandigro on his base running.
I agree. I kind of felt like Forrest Gump and wanted to put up a big stop sign, like stop, Forrest, stop, run, Forrest, run.
Yeah, I mean, you got to pick up the ball when you're going to steal. You have to pick up the ball, and he didn't pick it up. Yeah.
So we're gonna take a commercial break. Then we're gonna come back with Kenny McReynolds, and we're gonna talk about the Bears. God help us. Stay with us. He's coming back. Let's talk Bears.
Compassion. Noun. Sympathetic pity and concern for the sufferings or misfortunes of others. We're all born with it. It's in us. Don't believe me? When you hear a baby cry, something pulls at you. You want to ease that pain. You want to soothe that hurt. No one had to teach you that. It's called compassion, and it's in you. However, at some point you turned it off when it came
To me.
Me. Me.
me.
The cries of my soul have gone unheard, but today, you will hear me.
My heart has wailed a melody loud enough to shatter your ears and you ignored me. But this week, you will hear me.
This body has beat the drums of anguish, only to be silenced. But this month, you will hear me.
This year,
This decade,
This century,
I will be heard. And
you will be the one to hear me.
and when I am finally heard,
Show compassion.
show compassion.
show compassion.
Remember, it's in you.
Welcome back to What's Up, Cuz. I'm your host, Jason Palmer, along with my cousin, Lancy Irvin, and we're joined by Kenny McReynolds. And once again, if you want to get interactive with the show, there are ways you can do that. Check out the bottom of the screen there. But if you're watching us on Facebook Live or you're watching us on YouTube, go ahead and leave us a comment or a question, and we'll try to get right to it. Also, go ahead and like and share those pages as well. We'd love to get as many people to know about our show as possible. We're doing quite well here in the 3 months that we've been going, and we really want to thank all of you for tuning in every Monday between 6 and 8 p.m. Kenny, the Bears.
Yes. And you know what? I got a YouTube channel. Nobody subscribes to it, so please subscribe.
What is it?
Yeah, Kenny McReynolds.
Oh, well, there you go.
There you
The
go.
Kenny McReynolds YouTube channel. Yeah, you can do it 2 for 1 right with our show. We're going to have to figure out a way to link the two together. Kenny, the Bears lost their first game 19-11 yesterday to a Indianapolis Colts team where their defense is really, really solid. I knew they were good. I didn't know they were that good. But just overall, your thoughts on yesterday's game?
Well, the offensive line was terrible for the Bears. I mean, you got to get the running game going. What did they get? 25, 27 yards rushing the entire game. And Nick Foles is a great backup quarterback. He is unbelievable. So I think you should start Trubisky for the first half, sit him down, bring in Foles for the second half, and get things going. Because Foles did not look good as a starter, but he's great in the. And look at him in the fourth quarter. That last couple of drives, he did pretty well. So I would just start Mitch the first half and then bring in Foles the second half. And let's go. The Bears' offense was just terrible. I mean, you have to run the football. You can't throw it all the time. You have to be able to run the ball. You can't run for under 30 yards for an entire game in any league and expect to win a game, especially in the National Football League. And you can't expect your defense to do everything. They gave up 1 touchdown, 4 field goals, 1 touchdown. And let's face it, the receivers dropped a couple of balls too that should have been caught. They looked really flat. I don't know, was it because they didn't find out till Saturday that they were going to move the game to 3 o'clock? Maybe the guys had dinner plans or something and had planned everything around the 12 o'clock start. I don't know, but they were totally flat, totally out of sync, and they're not going to do good on Thursday if they don't do better than they did on Sunday.
Kenny, I second that, what you said about the receivers. Miller, Robinson, I thought they had a couple passes now. Say, man, you have to catch those, especially late in the game. You can't drop those. I was really disappointed in the offensive line. Same thing like you said. I said Jason a text in my like the offensive line is bad today. Like anytime Foles was stepping up in the pocket, somebody was in his face. So
Yeah.
I thought that was the first time where the line played bad and the receivers couldn't catch. It was just a bad offensive show.
It was a horrible offensive
It was
show.
horrible. So now what do we do? Because like you said, Thursday, I mean, it's right around the corner and we got to get better. But that was the first team that we played now that I thought was a decent team. Like the other 3 games I thought was like, I remember Jason, like, we ain't played nobody.
Well, you know, right now they're 3-1, which is great. But they're this far away from being 0-4.
Sure.
I mean, they're this far away from being 0-4. They haven't played well, but on Thursday night, you throw yesterday's game out because we got a short week. The offensive line just has to work on their blocking, or their run blocking, because you got to get more yards from your backfield. You can't get less than 30 yards for an entire game. And I think I just go out there all day, even with the old, the football machine, the 2 tires in the ball shootout, and just fire them at the wide receiver 8 hours a day to practice catching the damn ball. Because the balls have been there, they just dropped the doggone thing. So they've been close, they've been far, they haven't been great, but they're 3-1, which is really amazing that they're 3-1. But I'm not picking them to win on Thursday night.
Speaking of dropping the ball, it ain't just the wide receivers. Khalil Mack dropped an easy interception, which oh my God, that would have changed the game so much.
Yeah.
What is going on with him, Kenny?
Well, you know what happens? A lot of times, especially the defensive guys, they're not used to catching the ball. That's not what they're paid to do. They don't practice catching the ball like the wide receivers practice catching the balls. So I think he was probably trying to run before he caught the ball. And you see that a lot when guys drop the ball. They start to run because they get excited before they actually catch the ball. And sure, he should have caught the ball, but you also have to remember, he's a defensive, he's a linebacker. He's not paid to catch footballs. He's paid to knock guys on their behind, which is something he's been doing quite well.
But Kenny Mack, that was a duck that was floating up.
Yeah. I know. That was a duck. He should have caught it. There's no question about it. My only thinking is he probably started to run and was thinking the other way before he actually got possession of the ball.
So, Kenny, do you think Foles is our starter, or you think at some point in time he's coming back with Mitch? I think
he's coming back with Mitch.
You think so?
I think he's coming back with Mitch.
Why?
Because Foles is so good coming off the bench. So start Mitch the first half, then let Foles come in and win the game for us.
Kenny, you gonna start a riot in Chicago? They bring that man back.
I know. He said that he's going to go with Nick Foles as his quarterback from here on out. But I'm telling you, he's such a good off the bench coming in quarterback, man. I would let him come in off the bench and be like, okay, we're down. Go win this ball game for us. Because he didn't look too good as a starter.
So do you give Foles the starters reps if you're going to do that, or do you give Mitch the starter reps?
I give Foles the starters reps. I get him the starters reps. I need him to win. Mitch, you just dance, man, you just out there until we get ready to win this ball game, man. But no, Foles is your starter. He's already made that quite clear that Nick Foles is going to be his starting quarterback. And if the guys catch the ball, he'll be okay. But it's something about that fourth quarter, man. He's just like, okay, let's go. It's unbelievable that when the lights come on in crunch time, he's ready to go. That is really, really unbelievable.
But it's almost like being a creature of habit, right? I do agree with you a little bit because he's used to playing like that.
Yeah.
Coming back from behind. So you go from something that you're comfortable in. Now you start. Now your routine is a little bit thrown off. I think it did probably take him a couple of quarters so he could get, for him to get his feel back. But
and you know what? And 1 week of practice is not a lot of practice with the starters. You had to get your timing down. Everything had to go in the flow. When you came in off the bench in that second half the other day, it was just like, all right, guys, we're going to play some street ball. Let's just go. Let's just throw. You go to the end zone, I'm going to throw it like we used to do in the playground. And that's what they did. But now you started, you got to learn plays. You're looking at your wristband. Okay, here's this, blah, blah, blah. You go, and the timing was off. Or just say, hey, look, let's play street ball like we're in the fourth quarter. You guys run as far as you can. I'll throw it as far as I can, and we see what happens.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about David Montgomery. We said he got shut down yesterday, but in all fairness, he really didn't have any holes to run through. But even with that, you can still see the talent on this young man and his strength and just how he can make people miss and move the pile. What do you think of David Montgomery, and how do we, kind of get him going a little bit more?
Well, I tell you what, I thought it was amazing that he was there for the Bears to draft him. I couldn't believe that he was still available. He's a big time player. I mean, but what did Gale Sayers say? Give me 8 inches of daylight. That's all I need. Well, yesterday Montgomery didn't get 2 inches of daylight. So I don't care who's back there, except for maybe Walter Payton. If Gale Sayers and those guys, they couldn't have got anything yesterday. If you get him some running room, and he's so strong, I tell you what, he's special. He's a special ball player. But the guys in front of him, if they don't do their job, he can't do his job.
Well, Jason, that's a question for you too. Did I overestimate our offensive line? Because I've been on the show for the past 3 weeks. I like our offensive line. I love our offensive line. Did I overestimate the offensive line? Did we get exposed yesterday, or was it just a bad game?
Bad game. I think it was a bad game.
Yeah, I think you were going up against a very talented defense. I think that played a factor. I do think they were bad, though. I think they were bad, but I think they were going up against a very talented defense. Don't think Tampa Bay has got quite the defense that Indianapolis does. So no. I'm definitely expecting more from them on Thursday. Of course, this is a short turnaround. Fortunately, though, they don't have to travel. Tampa does have to come to us. So we'll kind of see, Kenny. Just overall, Kenny, what do you think of these Thursday night games just in general? We know why the NFL does it, but do you think it's good for the game? Do you think it's good for these players?
It's certainly not good for the players to go from Sunday to Thursday. It's not good for the players at all. I mean, they take a beating. Of course, now they'll have 10 days off in between games, but it's not good for the players at all, and I don't like it. I don't like it even for the fans. Hey, football was made for Sunday afternoons. I don't even like Sunday night football. Monday night football was okay when you had Howard Cosell, Don Meredith, and Frank Gifford. Now it's on ESPN. It's not on ABC. It's still okay. It doesn't have the glory that it used to, but I don't like – there's not one thing about Thursday night football that I like at all.
Wow. But with that being said, though, too, Kenny, we understand why they play on Thursday.
Of course we understand.
But
money.
You said, that has to take a toll on your body. I'm getting beat down on a Sunday, Jay. I'm turning back around, and you asking me to dial it up again Thursday? That's Thursday. That's tough. But Kenny, let me ask you this: what's your thoughts about COVID happening in the NFL? I know Cam got it. Are they going to be able to play a full season?
I don't know how you're going to play a full season. I mean, look at Notre Dame football. They got 25 guys down. Now, again, they're going to play on Saturday because of the NBC game at Notre Dame is that money. Notre Dame gets to keep the money. And the same thing with the NFL. I don't see how they're going to do this, guys, but they're going to do it. I guarantee you they're going to do it because the NFL TV contract is so huge for those 30 owners. Remember, their payroll is paid in full just from the TV contract alone. So you don't need fans in the stands to make your payroll. Your payroll is paid from your TV money alone. So they're going to play regardless. They don't care what the players say. I don't know how they're going to do this. Maybe they'll just feel we'll find some players that come in and want to play. But with COVID-19 out there, it's going to be very difficult because there are too many players and too many teams to put into a bubble like the NBA has so well done.
Couple more minutes here with Kenny McReynolds. Kenny, let's switch gears. Let's go to basketball. Last time we had you on, we were talking about the Bulls and what they could do, what they should do. They did end up Cannon Boylan, and they have now hired Billy Donovan. What do you think of the hire? What are you expecting from the Bulls kind of going forward, even though we hadn't had a draft yet, so we don't know their full roster?
And that draft now may be pushed back from November because I'll tell you a secret, their NBA now they're talking about starting the season in March instead of January. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I got that. I'm not supposed to tell anybody that because they came from the NBA.
We won't tell anybody, Kenny.
Don't tell anybody that I told you that. It's not official. They're talking about it. But I you know what? What Donovan brings is instant credibility. The last two hires had never coached in the NBA before. Now you're getting a guy that's a 5-year proven veteran. He's been in the playoffs. Hopefully he'll bring Maurice Cheeks with him to work with Kobe White. I think it's a new era of the Chicago Bulls now. I mean, give Michael Reinsdorf, my buddy, credit. He went out and got the best guys that he can get to run the organization. There's no more friends. There's no more family. You know, hey, you can't fire my buddy's wife. My wife won't let me fire my buddy. You know, you can't fire my buddy's husband. You know, that's my girl. You can't. There's no more of that. They're going out. They got the best guys they can do, and they said win at all costs. Because the one thing that made this change more than anything else was that a lot of people came to the United Center dressed as red seats. And that hadn't happened in a long time. So all of a sudden, you get all these red seats out there at $300 a ticket. That's empty. Okay. Let's run this organization like a top-notch organization. You're bringing in a coach that has 5 years experience instead of a guy that's a rookie. You're bringing in a president of basketball operations that has been there instead of a rookie. So, no, I like it. I mean, we'll have to see. Hopefully, he'll bring Maurice Cheeks with him. I guarantee you there will be some trades on that team if you can get rid of some of the guys. They have some really good pieces, and they have some guys that can't play dead that are making a ton of money. But I like it because it brought instant credibility as we went out and got a coach. Now, if you waited 2 or 3 more days, Doc Rivers would have been available.
Well,
I don't think Doc would have came because the Bulls are still going to be in a rebuilding mode, and Doc wants to win today. He's not a rebuilding type of guy.
But Kenny, I have to ask you. You said the Bulls have a couple of guys that can't play dead. If you throwing it out there, name one guy that can't play dead. Then
Felicio.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey, he making $8 million a year
to be terrible
for 4 years.
Felicio.
That's what $2 million guaranteed, and he couldn't beat me on my 19 knee operations.
You know what? I'm glad you said that, Kenny, because I think that might be my new poll question for next week. Which player on the Chicago team is stealing the most money? Is it Edwin Encarnacion? Is it Felicio?
Felicio.
Is it Trubisky of the Bears? I'm going to find somebody on every team. That's going to be our poll question for next week.
Hey, wait, real quick. I know you guys probably running short on time.
No, you good. Go ahead.
He got $32 million. Hey, you know what? I don't know Felicio, but everything I hear, they tell me he's the nicest guy in the world. And I mean, I'm happy he's making $32 million in 4 years to do nothing. But when he went down, they sent him down to the G League team in Schaumburg, the Windy City Bulls.
Right.
You know, they sent him back because they said he's the worst player on the D League team. He's hurting the development of the other players on the D League team. And they sent him back. So yeah, no, we don't need this.
Kenny making that up. Kenny making that up.
No, I'm serious. That came from one of the coaches that used to coach there told me.
Kenny's making that up.
No.
He is that bad, though, Lance. I can see that. Because he's going to hurt the development of the players you're trying to develop.
I don't understand it. Why did he get this guy $32 million guaranteed and you could have got him for like $2 million?
I agree.
It made no sense.
At all.
I mean, I'm not mad at him. I'm happy that he's getting it. I mean, that's $8 million a year, man. I don't make $8 a year. So I mean, come on. That's who's stealing more than anybody.
Well, Jason, that's a great poll question too.
I'm doing that poll question. Make sure we writing this down or recording it or something.
And if I was Trubisky yesterday, although I didn't play, hey, it was sun out yesterday, man. I wouldn't have cared. I got a lazy boy. I just laid on back and everything. Like, y'all go and do your thing. See me on the 1st and 15th.
But
I'd have been real good.
I do agree with you about Doc Rivers. I don't think Doc.
Uh-oh. You lost Lance there for a second?
I lost Lance. Yeah.
All right. So I'll ask my question, then we'll come back to him when he get his cheap internet fix. Giannis up here in Milwaukee. He does not seem happy, Kenny. I don't think he wants to re-sign with this team long term. If you are with the Bulls, do they even have what it takes to do a trade for this year and then sign him to a max contract?
No, they don't have it. They don't have what it takes. If you're the Milwaukee Bucks, what do you want on the Bulls that they have for Giannis? Unless you're totally convinced that Giannis is not coming back, then okay. Then you got to give me Zach. You got to give me Laurie. Then you got to give me your first-round draft picks every other year for the next 6 years. So then you give it up too much, and then you'll have nobody to play with. So they don't have what it takes. But I don't think Giannis is going back to Milwaukee. I mean, if he went to Chicago, LA, New York, somewhere like that,
Yes.
can you imagine the millions he would make off the court? He would make so much money off the court.
So Kenny, but he's saying all the right things to make me think that he wants to go back to Milwaukee.
Well, of course,
he got his brother on the team with him. I mean,
well, yeah, and his brother's going to go on the team wherever he goes next. They don't,
That's
have,
right.
they don't have to activate him. You have 15 guys, you activate 13. It's always going to be non-activated, but inactive. You'll be inactive. But I don't think he's going back to Milwaukee. But for the trade, I mean, that's going to be one great trade. But I don't think the Bulls have enough to give him. And if you're Milwaukee, why would you trade him within your division? That'd be stupid.
Right. That's true.
I would send him west. Now, do you do something like the Clippers did? They don't have a draft choice till like the year, 2050 or something. So, when they gave him all up. Do you do that? But he's going to end up. He's going to end up, don't you?
Where? Don't say
not
that
with the Lakers and LeBron.
Hey, you're going to be a Laker.
No, come on, Kenny. Don't say that, man.
When LeBron to be leaving, we need a superstar to come in. They always find a way. That purple and gold always finds a way.
You just said we, but Kenny, they have a couple of guys on 1-year deals. So I mean,
that's beautiful.
I mean,
you re-sign guys on 1-year deals, then you can get rid of them. So they off your cap. You got cap room. That's why you sign guys to 1-year deals.
Yeah,
and then you renounce their rights.
We need them on the Bulls, man. Come on, man. We trade them something. We give them like Lori Lightfoot and a couple other things. I mean, come on, man.
Don't give him a Harold Chicken franchise.
Well, okay. So let's be serious. So he's got to play this year of his contract. Let's say Milwaukee doesn't trade him, but then he's an absolute free agent, and you can throw.
Is he restricted or is he restricted or is he unrestricted?
I thought he was unrestricted, but I'm not 100%. But let's assume he's unrestricted. Then you can throw everything you got at him, but then you're also going to have to worry about, you've done the dumb contracts, like you said with Felicio. That's $8 million. You're going to
but he can play.
You're going to handicap yourself, right? So how do you get him here, but also still have enough room to have the talent with him so that you can compete for a title?
Well, unless Milwaukee just assumes he's not coming back, and remember, the Bucks can give him more than anybody else.
Right.
So then what you do a sign and trade. You have the Bucks sign him, then you trade everything but the kitchen sink for him. That's the way you do that. You just do a sign and trade. If the Bucks are sure, if he says, "Hey, look, I'm not coming back, but I'll do a sign and trade," then they have 15 days to do the sign and trade. Then the Bucks can get something in return because the Bucks can give him more money than anybody else. They can get like 20 million, 30 million more, and that's a lot of money. And a lot of people always say, well, how much money do you need? Well, that's easy to say when it's not your money. So, So I've never seen a rich guy that says he has too much money. But then you can do a sign and trade. But I'm telling you, man, he's going to end up in the Lakers. He's going to end up in the Lakers because they find a way. And LeBron going to be going out. Is LeBron going to play past next year?
Well, that's the key. I kind of think LeBron want to play as long as he can. I think he wants to be the first person in the league to play with their son. So I think he's trying to hang on till he can get Bronny in the league because I think he want to play with his son.
Well, okay, so he's assuming the Lakers are going to find a way to get his son. So
crazy things that happen, Kenny.
So now his son's a senior this year?
I think Bronny's a senior. I think Bronny is a senior this year. Lance, is Bronny a senior this year? Little LeBron?
Bronny like a sophomore or a junior.
Oh, that's what I thought. So he'll be a junior. So
I want to say sophomore. I want to say sophomore, but we give him a junior.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say he's a sophomore or junior this season. So then he got 2 years of high school, at least 1 year of college, unless he goes to the D-League team. So that's 3 more years for LeBron to play. Can LeBron play 3 more years?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so. I mean, because he takes care of it.
So then if LeBron is making $50 million a year and Anthony Davis is going to be making $50 million a year, then they ain't going to have room for Giannis. Mm-hmm. Everybody can't make $50 million.
I know that's right.
So then he'll go to the Knicks because the Knicks will pay everybody $50 million.
and still lose. And still lose. Yeah, right. I agree.
They got money to burn.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Thank you so much for coming in off the bench, man.
Kenny Mac.
Happy birthday. Hey, I interviewed Craig Robinson. It's on my YouTube channel and on my Facebook, which is Kenneth C. McReynolds. He mentions Lance Irvin. So I want you to go to my Facebook and Kenneth C. McReynolds, or my YouTube channel, Kenny McReynolds. And Craig Robinson mentions your boy Lance Irvin in our interview. See, Lance is big time. When the first brother-in-law, you big time. Hey, man, you subscribe to my channel, man. I need some subscriptions, man. I'm embarrassed.
I definitely will, Kenny. I'm going to go do it right now, right after my show.
Kenny McReynolds.
Kenny, man.
All right. All right, thanks, Kenny. Hey, Lance, tell Brooke I'm going to put in my good hair right now.
Kenny McReynolds, y'all.
Thanks, Kenny,
man. All right.
Woo.
What? Man, we got a lot packed in 90 minutes of my special edition 50-year birthday show.
Man, because you trying to go out to the spot. What are you getting? Seafood? Italian? Where you going, cuz?
Well, I had a steak on Saturday, but I am 50, so I'm trying to cut down on the red meat so that I'm not up in the doctor's office with colonoscopy. So I think tonight is going to be probably Italian, so I do a little pasta. I'll probably get some shrimp, some scrimps, something like that. Get the scrimps mixed in there. Something, give me some vegetables. I try to eat a little bit more healthy. Man, I'm 50 now. I can't be eating all that junk food, all the sugary snacks. I gotta work out more. I ain't doing the 60-40 with you, but I gotta work out more. So.
Speaking of 60-40, Jay, I gotta get up early in the morning, go out there. You had us run the gauntlet Saturday, man. But you enjoy your birthday, Sharice. I'm happy for you. That's a milestone, man. Enjoy your night. Next time you go out there, put a tie on, okay? Your cousin taught you better. Throw a tie on now, okay?
All right, I'm gonna try to act like I got some sense. I think I still got some ties from my days when I worked at Sears selling TVs.
Matter of fact, put on a sports coat then.
Go. You asked me for a lot now.
Man, your cousin Byron go throw on a sport coat. Throw on your sports coat and enjoy.
You asked me for a lot now, cuz, but that's all right. So, and next week we celebrating your wife's birthday. So, you talking all this stuff. Hers coming right around the corner.
Hey, she's just as difficult as you are. I asked her what you want. I'm not that hard to shop for. Oh, yes, you are. Man, you stop. Ricky looked at her and said, Mommy, you are hard to shop for. So, I figure I might buy something nice. I might send it to Vegas like some other people that we know. I'm not going to mention names that went to Vegas, though. But that's all right, though.
Got you. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody, to What's Up, Cuz. I'm your host, Jason Palmer, along with Lance Irvin. Tune in next week. One of our guests coming on at 6:30 will be Clyde Travis, former reporter for the Chicago Sun-Times. Clyde's got his own show now on WVON on Monday nights at 9 o'clock, I think.
9 o'clock, yeah.
Yeah, 9 o'clock. So we can tune in to Clyde tonight. Clyde's going to join us at 6:30. And we got a couple other people coming on here pretty soon. And we're going to also have an NBA referee who's going to be coming on here in a couple weeks once the season's over. So we got a bunch of guests lined up for you. We're always thinking about you as we get ready to go through these transitions with these seasons. Some of these sports are ending, but we'll be here for you every Monday night between 6 and 8. So thanks for tuning in. Remember, download the app. Where can they download the app, Lance?
You know what? SportsZone Chicago. Go to SportsZone Chicago. Download the app, please. I want to make Maya proud.
That's right. You can get off of Amazon, Google Store, or iTunes. Download that app. Until next week, thank y'all. Peace out.
You see me.
You hear me.
Respect me.
Respect. Due regard for the feelings, wishes, rights, or traditions of others.
We don't have to agree, but I deserve to be heard. I stand my ground. Respect me.
We don't have to be friends, but I deserve your civility. I stand my ground. Respect me.
You don't have to understand my culture, but I deserve to be authentically myself. I stand my ground. Respect me.
I stand in defiance of your need to make me less in order for you to feel adequate.
I stand.
I stand aware that the America that you see and love today is a result of my free labor.
I stand.
I stand knowing that the contempt you have for me was not instigated by me, but perpetuated by the fear you have of me.
I stand.
I stand surviving your many attempts to emasculate me. Indeed, I thrive despite it.
I stand realizing that you take many things from me, but I will not allow you to take my respect.
I am a man.
I am a proud man.
I am a proud black man.
I am authentically, undisputedly, unapologetically a proud black man.
I am authentically, undisputedly, unapologetically a proud black man.
I am authentically, undisputably, unapologetically a proud black man.
Respect me.
I have done more than enough to deserve it, and still you withhold it.
The bill is past due.
You owe me.
Respect me.
Respect me.
Respect me.